Well, welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video, and this is a discussion about why things in my previous Hoth video didn't look entirely right. Some people might have looked at some of the scenes that we recreated with all the figures and thought, that doesn't look precisely lined up the way it appeared in the film. And there's a reason for that, and that's what this video is about. Years ago, it was either in Bantha Tracks or Starlog magazine, like in the late 80s, early 90s, I read an article about people were starting to address the idea of, hey, why don't you go to where they filmed Star Wars? I mean, if somebody's able to go to Tunisia, go and see where all the stuff was filmed, Luke's home and all that stuff. And some people had gone to Death Valley and other places, the Redwoods. And one fan, I will never forget, she came to Norway and she came to Finse. And the main premise of everything that she talked about in her visit here, she basically said, if you're trying to come to Finse to recreate the scenes from The Empire Strikes Back, don't bother. Don't try to do this on your own. And now that I'm here and have experienced it for real, I can say she was right. Don't try to do Hoth on your own. Couple of reasons. First of all, we are staying in the hotel, Finse 1222, which is awesome, love it. And a couple of scenes were actually filmed around here. The bit with Luke on his Tauntaun might have been here, but there's conflicting reports about that. The bit where Luke is being stuffed into the Tauntaun itself, that was right at the back of the hotel here. So that's all legit. And a few bits where he's like goes through the blizzard. You might notice there's actually a bit of a blizzard outside right now. That is one of the main things that I wanted to discuss here about if you were thinking of maybe, hey, let's go to Norway and check out Hoth. Follow that girl's advice. Don't. Several reasons. Number one, it's Norway. One of the top 5 most expensive countries to live on the planet. And this has not been a cheap little vacation. So, like, even the price of food is, $30 for a burger. It's an expensive destination under normal circumstances. Number 2, coming to Finse is awesome, but it's not like you can just pull up your car in the parking lot, take a couple snaps, and then go home. No. This is a remote hotel on a glacier that can only be reached by train. So you pretty much have to stay at the hotel unless you're going to be weirdly coming in for 5 minutes and then going home. So you got to stay at the hotel, and it's a wonderful facility here. Very much, I think it's like it hosts corporate events and that kind of stuff. There's a couple of meetings going on right now while we're here. And it's, it's a ski lodge that a lot of people who do a lot of skiing like to frequent. So it's a pretty fancy hotel. Therefore, the price tag is up there a little bit. And there's a train ticket to get here, and then we're going onward to Bergen after this. So that's another expense. Number 3, and this is the real big one, nothing other than the couple of shots that I've already mentioned. The majority of the time, the film crew actually went way up on a glacier that's 4 miles in that direction. And that was where the Battle of Hoth took place. That's where Echo Base was, or at least the front of it, because it's actually just a matte painting. There are a few scenes where the Imperial probe droid crashed and did various things, seeing the Rebel power generator station. Those are all miles from here. Like, the crew actually had these tractor-trailer tank tread vehicles for hauling cast, crew, equipment, props, everything from location to location. So, and along the way, they stopped different pseudo-military style encampments. So it's not like everything is just outside the hotel. You have to go great distances. I was actually very impressed by, there's a book that was made several years ago called The Force in Finse. And the fellows who were making that, they went to all these different locations. They've actually got various scenes where they've got here it is in the movie, and here we are standing in the exact same spot. I was hoping maybe that book was going to be in the gift shop of the hotel, but it's not, unfortunately. I might order that one online. In the pictures, it looked like, oh, this will be simple, but I think those guys must have grabbed like a helicopter or some kind of a vehicle to get them from location to location, because there's not much that is reachable just on foot. There is Han Solo Rock with the probe droid and Han Solo hiding behind the rock, but have a look here on the map that was provided in one of the websites. It looks like it's pretty close, doesn't it? I've sort of measured it out. That's like 700 meters. Oh, that's nothing. Yeah, that's a long walk, even on snowshoes. That takes a long time to get there. There is an event I'm going to talk about later, Visit Hoth, where some people actually came here and they actually got on dog sleds and they were taken to Han Solo Rock. But from what I gather, it's like a 45-minute long trip just to do the Han Solo Rock, and that's the closest of all the locations. Everything else is miles away. So that's another bummer. You're not really going to be able to just hop out there and have your AT-AT, attacking snow speeders just like it was in the film. Now, the benefit... Oh, okay, so when we did our research coming here, we booked our room and we're having a lovely stay. And I think when we contacted the hotel, we did ask various questions about what if we want to go to the Star Wars locations. And maybe because we had our reservation, they were very, very hospitable toward like helping us out and all that kind of stuff. We said, can we hire a snowmobile to drive up to the glacier? And the lady said, unfortunately, no, they don't actually have any snowmobiles. Or I'm thinking if they do, they're just for emergency purposes. We're in the spanning of 2 national parks, and so she said, you're not allowed to drive snowmobiles in the national park, hence the dog sleds. Okay, let's get a dog sled. Well, to get that carted up here from the main town of Finse was going to cost thousands of kroners. It was going to work out to $1,500 Canadian for one dog sled. And I thought, okay, that's a lot of money, and that's only going to get us to Han Solo Rock. How many of us can get on that? Because there's myself, my wife, and I'm assuming a guy to actually handle the dogs, because I've never driven a dog sled before. Maybe I could take lessons. But, again, all of these things are starting to mount up, and the cost is starting to get out of control. So I just thought, no to the dog sled. One very nice thing in this communication back and forth, the lady who was at the main contact for us, did say, because of the Visit Hoth event, we'll get to that in a minute, there was actually a fella nearby who actually worked on the original film who was willing to take us out to Han Solo Rock and various other places that are also interesting to visit, not necessarily to do with the filming of The Empire Strikes Back. And his price was going to be about $850, which I thought, well, that's steep, but to be toured around and shown the actual things, maybe, I don't know, we'll see. And then other factors starting to play in, like you may be noticing right now, it's a whiteout out there. This is our second day here, and we're not going outside. And I've often wondered, okay, so you spend all this money and you get yourself up here at great expense and a lot of time. You got to travel to Norway and then a train up into the glacier mountains. What if you get here and it's nothing but whiteout the entire time you stay? So we've actually opted to stay here 4 nights. So this is all starting to rack up financially. And at the end of the day, I replied, I said, thank the fellow very much, but you know what? I think we're gonna cancel on the tour. But it was very nice of them to bend over backwards and provide all these possible options. Now, there's some good news among all this depressing stuff. There has recently been a new event called Visit Hoth that's been taking place. I think the people who run the hotel here have realized what a gold mine they're sitting on, and through organizations, they've actually agreed to do a proper Star Wars themed weekend. It's usually the first or second, I think it was the 10th of March, first or second weekend of March. They come up, they have lots of people who worked on the film. You have lots of people all showing up with their little Star Wars figures and doing all their bits. And they do take you all out in one group to at least Han Solo Rock, if not the other locations. In my email exchange, I had heard, it's a 45-minute trip to Han Solo Rock, and then you get to attend some talks. And when I said, okay, well, we're not going to worry about that, but just out of curiosity, how long is the time? The lady who was telling us said, well, it takes about an hour to do the filming locations, plural. So I thought, so are they also going to the glacier? And I'm doing that in an hour? Oh. So you might want to visit the Visit Hoth website. I'll put a link down below to that. But a couple of very minor disadvantages to that. I did check on YouTube some of the Visit Hoth stuff. First of all, it's only one set weekend. My wife works in the school system, so we could only come during spring break, which was not going to coincide with their dates for Visit Hoth. So it was just a non-factor for us. Number two, anyone who's attended a fan event or a convention with lots of really happy fans who are maybe having a little celebratory drink every once in a while, be aware that that's the crowd you're going to be hanging around with. You might have people jumping about and being kind of fun and enjoying themselves, which is great. But if you're here to have some specialty time with the Empire Strikes Back locations, just be aware you're going to be one of a crowd of a whole bunch of people all jumping around doing their thing. And what if you get up to the glacier with the dog sled and you're all out there with your little Star Wars figures and the guide is like, right, you got 10 minutes and we're heading on to the next location. Panic time. And I will say one third disadvantage of doing the Visit Hoth. I have a friend on Facebook who's a member of the 501st, and I don't know the exact details, and I'm not going to go into it because I don't know all of the stuff. If anybody who is, please comment down below. But apparently the 501st, who are a great organization who do all the dressing up, and they do many, many events, are very reputable. He says they had been asked by, I think it was Lucasfilm Limited. All he said was LFL. I assume that means Lucasfilm, ergo Disney, had asked them, please do not attend this in the future. Now, I don't know the details. I don't know the politics. But it just made me think, okay, so Visit Hoth, I think maybe as an event it needs to iron out some of the kinks, perhaps, before I would want to make the trip. So for myself and my wife, we decided we're just going to do Hoth our way, low-key, on a budget, if you can call spending a weekend in a very expensive ski resort on a budget. And we're having a great time. Would I recommend this? No. Like the girl in Starlog or Beth the Truck said, don't try to do this yourself. If you feel that going to the Visit Hoth event is going to work for you, great. Then go ahead and attend that. But that's not for us. Anyway, so I just thought I would film that and give a little explanation as to why things are not exactly film perfect from The Empire Strikes Back, but we're having a heck of a good time anyway. So until next time, we'll see you down the road.